This will be the first in a series of videos showing you how to speedrun Jonny Moseley Mad Trix, a game with the potential to be broken but too niche for me to say for certain. I've been the only active runner for many months, but if a game as bad as a mock runner can attract interest, so can this one. Before I begin, keep in mind that everything I'll be discussing won't work even half the time. This isn't the fault of anyone, the game is just horribly broken to the point where basic game mechanics refuse to work for no reason, making it seem like the game functioning properly is a glitch. I won't explain any of the game's glitches until the end of the tutorial series. This part will cover basic movement tech, the foundation of any speedrun. What is fast? What is slow? What should be avoided? This section will cover that. Before I even get into the game, speedruns use the PAL release. Due to a mistake on the developer's part, all movement is noticeably faster due to the game's speed not being properly adjusted during the transition to 50 frames per second. Using PAL is a 100% guaranteed time save on every track, sometimes up to 5 seconds faster, and some physics glitches happen far less often. First, character choice. The only character you should use is Jonny Moseley himself. He has the highest stats out of all the characters when using his best gear. You may think that Skier X is better since he also has the same stats, but his physics have been proven over many months of testing to be extremely glitchy, so he shouldn't be used at all. I'll be using the San Francisco track for this video, as it is a mix of everything you'll encounter while speedrunning this game. Multiple snow types, rails, massive skips, unpredictable physics, and mysterious glitches no one can figure out. First up, let's talk about the controls. The controls are very basic, and the speedrun barely uses any of them, so we'll only be going over the ones needed for the San Francisco run. First, basic movement. Holding up on the left analog stick will move you forwards. Holding X while doing this will make you go slightly faster, but also charge up a jump. There's also a mechanic called ground boosts, where if you hold X and perform a rhythm with the left analog stick, where you hold up for a half a second, release, do it again, and keep repeating that motion, you'll gain small boosts of speed when on solid ground. You'll be able to tell if you're doing it right if the speedometer occasionally shoots up to a much higher speed like you're seeing now. This is the basic ground movement you'll see during the run, but it's a lot more complicated than that, as different types of snow limit your speed differently. See the snow with the lines going through it? That snow slightly limits your speed, and should be avoided if possible. The smooth-looking snow should be used unless a specific route requires you to cross other types. There is a third type of snow, but that will be covered in a later video. Now on to other surface types. Lots of man-made structures exist that present different terrain types, such as metal or concrete. I wish I could say there was a way to accurately tell which ones affect your speed negatively or positively, but there isn't. You'll just have to experiment and see for yourself. Slow surfaces should be avoided unless a specific route requires you go over one. If you go over one that increases your speed, the ground boosts from earlier will have a much more obvious effect in both acceleration and speed. Now on to rails. You can grind on rails by pressing the triangle button near them, and the game has a hilariously strong magnetism effect that pulls you towards them in unrealistic ways. Sometimes this is advantageous, but sometimes not. Starting a grind will always shoot you up to maximum speed regardless of how fast you were going before starting the grind, and if you hold triangle while on a rail and briefly tap X, you'll do a short hop before quickly reattaching to the rail and shooting back up to maximum speed. This is used on some long rails that slow you down after a while. The next topic of discussion is airtime. This game has little to no programming for gravity, meaning you slowly fall like a feather floating down to the ground, and no known mechanic exists to speed this up. It's best to avoid airtime as much as possible unless a specific route requires it. Now onto collectibles. This game has 4, but only 2 matter in speedruns. The first is the speed boost, which looks like a pair of skis with a yellow glow effect. Collecting it will make the sound of a cowbell and significantly increase your horizontal speed for a short period of time. While it is a good idea to use these, it's not wise to go out of your way to collect them, as going for ones out of the way of the usual route will still lose time. Grinding on rails after collecting a speed boost will increase your top speed there as well, same for surfaces that increase your speed. The other important collectible is the Moseley cookie, which looks like a mirror ball. Collecting it will make the sound of a squeaky valve and allow you to do your character's signature trick. This is only useful for Trix, however there is a third effect not explained to the player. If you collect a Moseley cookie and ride on something that increases your speed, like rails or specific surfaces, your top speed will increase, and this does stack on top of speed boosts. There are also a select few Moseley cookies that instantly apply this increased speed, but the reason why is currently not understood. To finish off the video, here's some gameplay showing correct usage of everything discussed so far. Stay tuned for the next part, which will cover more advanced techniques such as warping and specific rail grinding strategies.